All right, you're welcome. This is Beyond Entertainment Show with PVO, and my name is, of course, Victor Olukoju. And today I have with me a very important guest. He's not a stranger to you. You know the face, right?
Yes, sir.
Jaymikee.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you.
Good to see
You're
you.
welcome
Sir. Thank you, sir.
for visiting this place today.
Thank you, sir.
The Lord bless you.
Amen.
So we're going to be talking about so many things today. I hope you're ready for us.
By the grace of
You're
God.
looking good, man.
Thank you, sir. It's
The
God.
last
It's
time,
God.
the last time I interviewed you, you were slimmer than this. I guess
Okay.
marriage is doing something good in your body.
By the grace of God, sir.
All right. So the next person that you're going to be seeing is Jaymikee.
You are welcome to Beyond Entertainment Show with PVO. That's the stories behind the movies.
This is Beyond Entertainment. And this is Beyond Entertainment.
My name is Jaymikee Bamiloye, aka Jaymikee. I'm a drama minister, a kingdom creative. That is, I'm a music producer, I'm a graphics artist, and an animator, recently an animator. I have released about six albums and 3 EPs by the grace of God, and scored music into about 80 something movies by the grace of God. I am married to Tolulope, and I have a son, Evangelist Jason. Hey everyone, my name is Jay.
And my name is Josh, and I want to encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel and click the notification button so that you can be aware whenever we post a defined, inspiring, and godly content. It doesn't bite. What doesn't bite? The button. They don't bite. See? You see? Does it bite? No.
Okay, yeah. The doesn't bite concept it wasn't like there was a special plan to say we're going to create a slogan that everybody's going to be interested in saying. It was just the first episode that was done at the Abattoir season 1, where Jay and Josh were talking, and in the script it was just, guys, subscribe. The button is there. Who shifted the button? Just click it. It doesn't bite. So it was just part of the script for episode 1, and then the response of people was what spurred another one, and to also have that same slogan there, because a lot of people would see me and they'll be saying it doesn't bite. I was like, oh, people actually like this it doesn't bite slogan. Okay, since they like it, let's make it a thing. So by Abattoir season 2, we did another one, and we made it even more elaborate, where he was hanging on to the YouTube stuff, and it's like, it doesn't bite. So that one even blew even more again, and people, it doesn't bite, that's why. So like, okay, it's official now. This is the slogan we'll be using for. And if you notice, we only use it for Damn Lola, my Bamiloye YouTube channel. You would never see any doesn't bite on my channel, because we want to make it like a brand slogan for that YouTube channel.
Why? Over half of those watching are not subscribers. Do I have to tell you why you need to subscribe? Because it doesn't bite.
So Jay and Josh started out of a burden. It was after, at first it was the mini series after NYSC. So after about a year and a half of the mini series, there was the thought of what's next, and there was the video type of mini series was calling me, but I didn't know how I would make that possible. I didn't know how I was going to do that. So there was a video I saw on Instagram. There was someone else who did he replicated himself, and he did it in a very simple way. Like, it wasn't, because I'd always been overthinking it, but this person did it in a very simple way, and I was like, so it just kept. But the burden now came when that person did it, but he was promoting what wasn't good. He was promoting immorality, explicit behavior. So that burden came that we can do something like this, but for the gospel. Because it was funny, it called people's attention, but to the wrong things. So we're like, we can do this one to call people's attention to the right things. And then that was how it started. So it started from an experiment. The episode 1 was just to advertise a vision career program. So, when you are doing something out of caution that, okay, so if this one flops, it was just an advert for a program. So that was the first one that was done back then. And then when it worked, I was like, okay, this is it. So episode 2, but then it started from short videos, about 1 to 2 minute videos, and it kept elaborating. It was getting bigger until what we have today. So by the grace of God, we are in episode, I think, 30 or 40 something. I keep forgetting. So, but yeah, God is helping us. I don't have a favorite. What I don't have is because each time, once I'm done with Jay and Josh, I don't watch it again. I move on to the next one whenever I'm able to do it. So sometimes when I go back to some of the episodes, or when someone is watching it and I stumble on it, I'm like, I will see myself laughing at it. I'm like, this was actually good. And in my mind, I'll be like, this is probably one of my favorites. Then later, I'll see another child watching and I'm like, this one. And I'll be getting excited again. So it's hard for me to say which is my favorite. However, if I will say which one I appreciate the most, maybe because that one had the most elaborate number of characters, it would be Evil Meeting, where the evil spirits were having a Zoom meeting. And why? Because it wasn't just Jay and Josh this time. It was spirit of this, spirit of that, so there were about 5 to 6 different characters with their individual craze in them. So I think that was part of what I appreciated, because the whole 5 to 6 minutes was just wild with all manner of characters. So yeah, I would say that one.
Why haven't we started? We are waiting for others to arrive. Okay, ignorance is here. Sorry, spirit of ignorance. You've got to unmute yourself.
Music in movies. Music is very important. But I recently, the longer I spent, or the longer I've spent now in this film composition journey, I've realized that before I used to say movie cannot do without music, and all that. But then I've realized that it is not even just music; it is sound as a whole. There are times before almost every scene that I'm working on, I want to put music. But then I realized that there is also a beauty in the silence. Of course, when I say the silence now, I don't mean just the sound of your cable doing this. I mean the actual ambience that you are creating for a particular scene. That one too has its own emotions. So sound, the beauty of sound should not be overlooked. I see, a lot of times we have filmmakers who invest so much in cameras and lights, but when it comes to sound, it's just the same thing they've been using for like 5 years, 6 years. But on the contrary, there should be a level of improvement in sound, because sound too is very, very important. There's some people whose films you watch, you realize that this film is very quality, but you can't pinpoint what exactly. Is probably sound is one of the major factors. So sound in terms of the audio, and then music, and what is used to just augment the emotions or that the emotions that you are looking at, or that the director wants you to portray to the audience. That's the power of music. All right. Yes, it's actually very different. People who produce for songs and those that produce for film, because you see, song, even though sound in general is meant to pass across a message, is meant to pass across an emotion. Where they are both different is music passes across a message by itself, for itself. That is the one you do for a music artist, for an album. It is a song by itself. It is an emotion or a message by itself, for itself. But film score is a partner and a slave to the visuals. It's a partner and a slave to the visuals. So if you don't know how to bend sound to be a partner and a slave to visuals, it will flop. It will just be like two masters going in their separate directions. That's why you see some people, you are watching a movie, you are hearing the music, but you are not connecting the music to the film, because at that point in time, the music is doing its own thing. The film is doing its own thing. But to be able to bend that sound to be a partner and a slave. So I say partner because it is also helping to augment the emotion, and a slave because it is subject to what the director wants to portray. So to me, this has been the grace of God. There has been growth over time in how I score sound into films. The ones I've done in the past, you can't compare to the ones I'm doing now and the ones I'll do in the future by the grace of God. But if I will speak based on practicality now, of course, you have to watch well done movies, professionally done films, and then not just watching, observing how these things are used. There are certain sounds that are used for certain scenes or certain emotions, certain moods. It's not just anything, anywhere, anyhow. All right. So there is a language. Some people might say, no, but this is a Christian film. Why are we looking at maybe secular movies? But then you need to understand that this is a language, and the language doesn't care what it is being. The same English that people are using to preach immorality is the same English we are using to preach the gospel. So we still have to learn English, and you still have to learn the dictions and the and everything that is involved in English. Same thing with music. There's a pattern that music moves, that effects can be generated, certain moods can be generated. So it is not religion dependent. Let me just put it that way. So at the end of the day, you still need to find out how these things are done. Research on musical instruments, research on sound. The best way you can research, in my opinion, best and simplest way, is to watch professionally done movies. Watch it, and don't just watch it and be carried away. Try and separate yourself from the emotion and see a bird's eye view. Why did this man add this sound to this particular place? All right, what was that? What was that sound effect they added to a particular place? How do they apply this thing? Okay, so when you do that, it helps you to, if you're a producer, it helps you to also know how to use this sound, especially if you are the one laying the sound in the movie. It helps you to know, because producing it is one thing, the application is another thing. And the more you do it, the better you get. The more you do it, the better you get.
Please hold on. Oh.
My journey as a film score. It hasn't been easy, but at the same time, it has been fun, to be honest. Because at the end of the day, I keep telling people, if you are doing what you have interest in, if you are doing what you have a passion for, even though it will stress you, because as an adult, there is no job on this earth. As long as that job has its demands, no matter how much you love it, there will be moments of stress. All right, so it has been a very interesting journey, and the reason why I'm very grateful to God is because there has been growth. One of the things I fear is stagnancy. I fear it so much, such that you see your work of a couple of years ago and you see your work of today, and there is no improvement whatsoever. I'm always scared of it. So I'm grateful to God that there is constant growth. There's constant growth. And the journey has also been interesting in the sense that there are the movies that it's being used for, and the people that I'm working with. I am almost exclusively Mount Zion. So when I'm doing films, there's a film of Daddy Mike, there's a film of Mommy Gloria, the film of D Baba, Bamiloye. So these people that God has brought me into, whose midst God has brought me into, they have been a great influence in where I am today. For example, if I should give a practical example, when we were to do Abejoye, I've forgotten which of the season it was, and the sound was done, the one of Olori Ogun Olugbejami. So that sound, when it was done, the initial intro was doom ba ba doom ba take it doom boom ba take it ba. It was just percussion. So that was done. But when Daddy Mike heard it, I was like, Joshua, can you see Sheto? I was like, oh God, what does Daddy Mike want again? No. So he said, put Jaymikee inside. He said, put Jaymikee inside. I said, what is Jaymikee I also put inside? Okay. So without knowing what to do, I said, no problem, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I was very tired at that period. So I said, put Jaymikee. What do they know me if I like to shout and sound? Oh yeah, then. So that was what we did, and at the end of the day, that became the highlight of the song. it became the highlight of the song. And till today I keep wondering, if Daddy Mike didn't push me now to do this, that song would have just started with just percussion, and that spanned almost throughout the entire song, and it gave the song so much. So the same thing with Dami. Dami does a lot where he's writing a film or he's already shooting it. He will just say, Joshua, come and hear this, and come and hear this, and he will now play it with his phone. You say, I know my voice no fine reach that one, but shy here. He will now play it. So Dami will do, he will just play one humming sound, and I'll be nodding my head like I understand what he's saying. So when I produce it, it's like, yeah. So there's always this synergy. Same thing with Mommy's movie. When I watch Mommy's movie too, Mommy's movie are more of drama, family, relationship. So there's always this feel. I Will Love was from Mommy Gloria's film, which there was this other one, I forgot what the sound. So this sounds tailored towards Mommy style of film. So the people that God has surrounded me with are people whose stories and the guidance of what they want influence my style of music greatly, and it has improved. And they don't cage me. That's another thing I'm grateful for. They've never once caged me to say this is the only style you can do. They give me that freedom to express music. So sometimes you hear when I did the correct, I'd never done that kind of sound before, but it was done. They loved it. The day Last Man Standing was done, and we put rap at the end of it. Nobody had any issue with me putting rap. It was rap there. I didn't rap. I called someone to rap, and it worked. So that freedom they give and freedom of expression, musical expression, it has really helped, and the guidance. So overall, the journey has been very interesting. Yes. So I can never overemphasize the power in consistency and hard work. Yes, like we said, we know that the grace is there, and to be honest, to be frank, that grace is a major factor for me and Dami. The reason why we say so is because we are enjoying the benefits of our fathers that have cleared the bush ahead of us. They've cleared the bush, so the efforts that we are putting is yielding easier because they had cleared the bush for us. They've done both in prayer, fasting, and physical efforts. They've done so much for us right from when we were young. So many of the things we are benefiting today, but a lot of the speed and exceptional nature of our work is the result of the prayer, fasting, and physical efforts that our fathers have done. But then, that being said, if we had sat back and relaxed, nothing would have happened. There would just be a clear path ahead with nothing going on. So what am I trying to say? Whatever position that you are in, like Joshua Selman said, whatever position you are in and whatever you need to receive, whatever power you need to receive, sacrifice is inevitable. Be it evil powers, sacrifice, you have to pay the price. The Spirit of God and the power to receive that and the power to fulfill greatness in what God has called you to do, sacrifice is involved. Our parents, they never left us alone to say let them tour their own path. There is still that prayer. We still pray on a steady. We still gather together and pray. When the ministry is fasting, we are fasting. We are doing all these things to replenish that energy. So, and then the work too. We don't just sit down and say the inspiration will just come. If Dami wants to write a script, Dami doesn't just wake up one day and say, I want to write today, and then he will start writing. No, Dami goes into a place and he prays to receive. But then as he's doing that, he's researching as well. He's gathering information. When he's watching film, he's always at alert. People have constantly asked me, do you even have time to rest? I say, man, I could rest. I rest. I find time to rest. However, work, you cannot escape it. Some people will have time to be playing games every Friday. We might not have that time, but then the result is what we are seeing. All right. So there's a passage in 1 Timothy that talks about how. All right. So it's in 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12. So let's go to verse 13 now. It says, "Until I come, devote yourself to public reading of the Scripture, to preach and to the preaching and to the teaching of doctrine of the Word of God." That's what God is saying, till He comes, that you should devote yourself to His Word. So that's the one I talked about, that our parents haven't left us alone. The prayer, the fasting, all those things still continues ministerially, personally, all these things, very important. Then now says, "Do not neglect the spiritual gift within you, which was intentionally bestowed on you by the Holy Spirit through the prophetic utterance, when the elders laid hands on you. So in this case, the elders right now are our fathers in the ministry. They've laid hands on us. They've cleared the path. So we fire on, right? But that doesn't end there. It now says practice and work hard on these things to be absorbed in them, so that your progress will be evident to all. That's the progress I'm talking about. So the way where we were last year is not where we are this year, and it's an intentional working. We constantly work, because it says practice and work hard. And then it now says pay close attention to yourself and your teaching. Preserve these things, for as you do this, you will ensure your salvation, both for yourself and for those who hear you. So hard work, you cannot escape it. Don't just be looking for men of God to say you to be praying for you, or laying hand on you. That you can do that, fine, but it must not stop there. Develop yourself, focus on yourself. Truly, grace is different, but then your hard work has a major role to play, and this is very scriptural. So some people usually say, oh, you are privileged to have this, I don't have this, so I can't do this. Thankfully, that was why God made me start before I had the things I have today. Some people say, oh, I don't have microphone. I started with headphone mic. It was about 3,005 that time. Connected it to a computer. Started. Oh, you don't have a computer, Abi? I started before a computer. I used to use keyboard alone. So you say you don't have keyboard, Abi? You go to a church. So start from somewhere. I was playing in the youth church before I even started laying music for film. So wherever you are, that's wherever you are. God is not going to say whatever small thing is in your hand doesn't matter. He will ask you, what's that you have in your hand? That you have in your hand means what have you nurtured for him to now breathe his breath of life on. In creative work, you see what you've trained your eyes to see. And this is a training that spans across time. It's not a one-time thing. I've trained it. You don't say, I have trained my eyes, full stop. It's, I'm training my eyes. Because many times I watch a movie, I feel this is done, this is okay. And then, maybe 2 years later, I watch that film, I'm like, look at that. What happened? What changed? It's still the same eyes. But the training has improved. It has gotten better. So, attention to detail is not what anybody can pride himself over to say he has gotten the trick. No, it's what we all constantly grow and evolve into. Why is it even important in film? I've realized that these are the little things that make a movie, that separate a movie from the rest. For example, we're shooting a movie and the person is walking in a hallway. The person is walking in the hallway, and in the movie, maybe because there was no dialogue, this is a mistake we used to make as filmmakers. Nobody is talking here, so because of that, everybody is talking in the background, so there is noise everywhere. Because all we need is the visuals of this person walking in the hallway and entering into a room. So now you get to the editing studio, and then the editor cuts out the audio of that place because no audio is there, no dialogue. So we are only focused on dialogue, but we're not focused on that things. But as I grew older, I realized that yes, no dialogue is here, but this is still an important thing. So because of that, I can end up replacing the footsteps of this person. So while he's walking in the hallway, you hear footsteps, and I begin to place it on each step. As the person is walking, you hear the go, because you are trying to put your audience into the film. We always use music to cover up those places. Whereas what if the scene does not need music? Because we just say music, Mawambi, there will be music here, there will be music here. But what if in the flow of the story, there should not be music here? There should be a calm mood here. So what do you need? Ambience. Where is the person? In an office, we put the office sound there. What is there any chatter there? There's chattering of people. Put the chattering of people and reduce the volume. Then he's walking. Put the footsteps. When you do that, you've placed your audience into the mood of it. But when someone is walking and then you just erase all the sound and then it feels like the person is floating on the air, you've kind of taken your audience out of it. So these are the little things I began to pay attention to as I grew older, as time passed in this field. So there are still many things I will still begin to observe with time, but these are the few, and those things will separate your movie from the rest. It will. When you're watching a movie, you want your audience to drown into it, not just watch, but to be into it. That's why the foreign filmmakers, professional, high budget filmmakers have gotten to the point of 5.1 doubly sound, such that they want you to feel more into the film. Then they have to you are going to cinema and an explosion is happening here, you know, maybe there's a war, someone is helicopter that was passing, you're hearing the sound here. What are they trying to do? To sink you in deeper into the film. And these are what details achieve. Yeah. And for theme music, I've realized also right from time that theme music is very important. But yeah, when I was growing, I usually save the theme music for the last. But then I realized there are some cases in some movies such that a song is needed in a particular place. All right, aside the theme music. So because of that, I save the theme music for the end, because I feel that theme music at the end is like the icing. But then in the middle of the movie, and it's most of the time, it's when the protagonist, who is the protagonist, the hero of the story, is at his lowest point. So whenever he's at his lowest point, whatever, and then people are feeling the depressing, sad, hopeless in quote state of the hero, whatever music you put there usually punches deeper, because at that point there's a lot of emotional whirlwind going on. So when you drop a song in there and the lyrics are not many, you check out Abattoir when the father came back, or in recitation when the boy was rejected and he couldn't compete in the competition, and he was going home with the teacher, you know. And there's another one again. He said, "I will trust in you." Which one was that in the game? Even if that was 30 Pieces, when the landlord chased him out of the house and the boys found one uncompleted building for him to live in. At that point in time, the song without many lyrics, the few lyrics that are there will pierce into the audience, because at that point in time the audience is feeling it. So now you put a song there that will further solidify. The audience will not forget it. So I recently learned that one a few years ago, so it's something I'm also paying attention to. So you can see that I'm still growing in this thing. Many of the things I'm teaching now I didn't know back then. Many of the things I'll teach in the future I don't know now. So as God gives us the grace, in the next 5 years, I see us much better than we are right now. There is growth. What makes our own story very interesting is we are doing this. We are not doing this in the presence of. We are doing this regardless of. We are doing this even when what it actually takes to make this kind of a thing is not there. With some people here, the way a lot of drum ministers, the sacrifice of a lot of drum ministers make to make these movies happen, they are always surprised. They marvel a lot. There's a lot of sacrifice that is being paid, a lot of diligence, hard work that drum ministers are putting into this. And if we continue at this pace, I see us topping the charts. I see us being greater and greater waves of what God wants to do in this country and in the world. It's actually very exciting. It's very exciting to see these things, to see all of this happening, and to be alive and to witness all of this happening. But if I'm to encourage drama ministers, I'm sure we already the basic encouragement to be diligent and to keep at it and don't give up. I'm sure we've heard that a couple of times. But I want to advise a lot of drama ministers to not think in the box. We have a lot of drama ministers that when they say drama minister, a lot of us just think acting. In fact, the level I'm in now, I always tell people that want to come into the circle, I say, if you are coming to the circle as an actor, you've not yet discovered what you want to do. Because acting is, to me, acting is basic. Like that is of course we have actors and we have actors. However, acting is the ground. That is ground zero now. So what is that extra thing you are bringing to the table as a drama minister? Because it's just like a soldier now. You say, what is a soldier? I'm a soldier. What do you do? I fight. That's basic. What do you fight with? They say, I fight. I know how to fight. I can. No. What's that extra thing that you are bringing to the table? That's what I'm saying. So what am I trying to say? Acting is fantastic. Acting is great. Acting is wonderful. But don't limit your knowledge to only acting. And that's number one. There are a lot of drama ministers also that say once they hear drama, I want to go into filmmaking. Everybody wants to be writer and director and producer too. They want that written, produced, and directed. Please and please. There are many gifts that God has sprinkled on each and every one of us. For example, we don't even have that many film composers in drama ministry. We don't have that many film composers. We don't have that many drama ministers who are special effects artists, visual effects artists, VFX artists. We don't have that many. We don't have many drama ministers who are into set design. These are mountains that you can become, like, it is, they are all worlds on their own. So don't let us all limit ourselves to only written, produced, and directed. This is just a small percentage of what filmmaking is actually about. Because we're so used to, you get into location, set design, let's just arrange it ourselves. Makeup, let's just do the makeup ourselves. Let's just do that. Whereas you can have people who are professionals in this field. I'm saying a future where drama ministers will say, when you want to get the best of this, go and meet this person. This person, this person, this person. These are the best in this category. Oh, you want a set design that will blow your mind. This, and this. Oh, you want soundtrack and background music and sound effect. It's not just with Jaymikee. It's Jaymikee, this person, and this person. Oh, what else again? VFX. We have a team of people that they specialize in that. When we do that, that is what we call the versatility that will lead to a great project. So when a project is being done, it's going to be fantastic, rather than the manage. One person, one editor doing the sound effects, doing the audio treatment, doing the Foley, and then doing the graphic design, and then doing the final mixing again. No. I see a future where it's going to be broad. We're going to have a broad team of people. So each time I teach in the institute, I tell them all the time, I tell them about all these other positions that they can specialize in, that they should open up their hearts to the several other aspects of filmmaking, rather than just acting, directing, producing, and writing. Even in the writing, we should have people that we can say, a drama minister has a vision, he has a burden. He has a storyline that he wants to. I want a story that can talk to secondary school girls, and I have an idea. Now they will advise, go and meet this writer. This writer will turn this story into a beautiful screenplay. If we have people like that, that will be very fantastic. So it will not be a case of every drama minister wants to write. Every drama minister, because there's nobody to give, he just decides to sit down and write. So he has a beautiful message, a beautiful sermon, but then the storyline has a lot of errors because he's not a professional screenplay or story writer. So this is what I would advise. As you are coming into the fold, there are many roles. Make sure you discover which one you are at and be the best at it. Strive to be the best at it.
And this is beyond entertainment. And this is beyond entertainment. Beyond with PVO.
Funny enough, maybe it's just the way I see myself. Like, for a very typical example, when I wanted to travel to Lagos, and I was telling my co-workers, friends, the editors, I said, I want to go to Lagos. The train will take time. Someone should drop me at Iwo Road. I'll take a taxi. They're like, Jaymikee, what? I said, what happened? They say, you can't take taxi now. Jaymikee, you can't take taxi. I said, why? I was first angry at first. Do you know how many times I've taken taxi in the past? What do you mean I can't take it? He said, no, if they see you. I said, see, if I enter Iwo Road today, nothing will happen. Nobody will, stampede will not happen. They will not say, Jaymikee, NTA. Jaymikee was seen at the scene. Nothing will happen. I will enter that taxi. One or two people will greet me. God bless you. We see the work I do. And that is it. So I don't know. Maybe it's just the way I see myself. I don't think I'm there yet where fame will begin to be. And also maybe because I don't go out as much. But even the times I go out, yes, people see me and wonderful, you guys are doing well, God bless you. But that is it. And to me, it's still pretty normal. It's not like Daddy Mike now that everywhere he goes, if it is not Abejo, it's Shaworu, it is this, is that, it's Mount Zion. So he is the one that, but me, how many things have I done in my life? So I don't yet see it as any issue. It is still, I'm still living a very normal life. The only thing maybe I can't do now is to fly bike. And I can't do that now because and I think it's not because I can't fly bike. It's because someone said to me, at some point in time, it is a way to respect the position God has placed you. So people don't see it and be like, why is this guy flying bike now? At least. But Maybe that's what I can't do again. But every other thing I can do perfectly fine, and nothing is going to happen. We are not going to have paparazzi snapping pictures. The only place I get that level of buzz is maybe when I go into fellow Christians. You know, there's this excitement among fellow Christians, maybe a church program. Yeah, you're among your fellow people, so there's this Jaymikee, especially among the younger ones. But in the general public, trust me, I'm doing perfectly fine. I don't have any issue. We've not reached that level yet at all, so we are fine. From me, well, I like that question. Although, you know, some people used to ask me, say, Joshua, when are you going to write your own script? And in my mind, I'm like, see, Abattoir is my script. Bamiloye is my script. Because at the end of the day, it still lands on my table. When it lands on my table, we finalize it before it goes out there. So anyway, yeah. Okay, so on a more serious note now. Because I had already, you know, I was advising and I said everybody should get in their zone and thrive and be the best at it. However, I know that, I sense it that a time is still going to come. Of course, I know very strongly that script writing and producing is not my field. I know that already, and I've settled in that zone. However, there will be times when I believe and I know that a time is coming where God will give a story. All right, and in this case, it's not just because it won't be that God has now made me become a writer to be writing. If everybody's writing, who will do the other things? All right, so it's not just about me becoming a writer, but I believe that a time is coming where God will give me a script for a specific reason, for a specific audience, for a specific situation, a specific burden. And of course, I'm still going to work with my family. So I will still drag Dami to come and look at this script, touch it whichever way you want to. All right, and let's make it work. So from me personally, when will a script come from me, apart from the Jay and Josh 5 minutes story that has been coming here and there, let me just say, in the future, I don't know when yet, but when that time is getting close, it's going to be funny enough. When the script even comes, they might not even know that I'm the one that wrote the script, because I'm not really bad about writing per se. But that time is coming. The time is coming. So fellow brethren, 24 hours will remain 24 hours if you are single and if you are married. You're not going to have extra 3 hours because you are married. So I will just advise you very well, very, very well, learn to plan, prioritize, and coordinate yourself. Don't just say, let's see how it goes, let's live life as it goes, and then you enter marriage seeing life as it goes, and then all the other responsibilities, it can be overwhelming if one is not careful. I only have one, and I'm already saying Jehovah, King of Glory, because that one is like 3 in 1. That guy is an evangelist. Anyway, it's been a very, very interesting experience for me, because right from time, and this is where I've been learning a lot of things. Part of the things I've learned is that when I was single, I used to feel like I didn't have time. I'd already stopped playing games since when I was in secondary school. I didn't have time for games again. Too much time. So I used to be bothered that. So if I don't have time for myself now, when other people join my, my inner circle of a family, what do I do? But then again, I got married, and then later on when a child came, I realized the concept of God giving grace to you as it is needed. The grace I have now, I didn't have when I was single. It is the same with finance too. I thought about it a lot. Hey, if I marry now, what will happen? Where will money come from? How will I do this? How will I Me when I was single, I was struggle. I wanted to buy a pair of monitors, speakers for the studio. I didn't have a studio, it was my room. But we save something else to take the money. I'll start again just for those speakers. I'm like, so what would happen if a wife comes, child comes? Is this how I'll be saving? But then that was the grace for that time. When I married, things changed. There was a special grace that came with getting married. And then when a son even came again, there was a special grace that came with having a son. So what am I trying to say? Some people are really scared to get married. They say they want to make an amount of money before they even go into marriage. I want to make sure I'm well to do. The truth is, to be frank, don't wait to get to that point of I am well to do, I am satisfied, I have money, before you say you want to marry. When God says you should move, that is the best time for you to move. And God told me to move, and that was the best time that I moved, and I've had zero regrets so far. So it's been challenging. I won't lie, I won't deny that, because if you're supposed to spend a certain hours of time in the studio, before I could stay all the way till 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Now by a certain time, I'll get a call that when are you when are you done for the day, and then you get back and then you have to deal with this evangelist again. So it's challenging, but it's not terrible the way I thought it would be. It is rather an interesting journey that I'm using to learn and even understand God more in the process. I understand God. I understand the love of Christ. I understand more about life now than I did back then. It's a very interesting journey altogether. Yes, Twitter. I think many aspects of my life, they are not things that I just plan and say this is what I want to do, and by this time it will be so. Twitter is one of them. I just actually right from time I've kind of been the argumentative type, which is why Dami is the opposite of me. Dami does not like argument at all. Me, especially if I have my points, I would like to argue it out. That's why they say I've been a lawyer or something. Twitter was a platform that when I initially joined a couple of years ago, I had joined back in 2012. I didn't understand what was going on the platform. I abandoned it for years, and I think about 5 years later, I just came back and then I started tweeting. So I noticed, but what even fascinated me was right from time, maybe because of the small bubble I was in, I thought every Christian thought the same way. I assumed every Christian's thinking was the same thinking that is in my immediate community, until I started dropping some casual things on Twitter and I was getting some backlash, and I will be reading it and be like, so there are Christians that think this way. So it became the first time I was dragged on Twitter. I didn't know I was going to be dragged, and I didn't expect it. I had no plan for it. So when it happened, it moved me so much. At a slight moment, I felt how it was to be hated by the world. Like, it was a very terrible feeling. I remember my hands would be shaking. That's it because of this thing I said. My hands will be shaking, and I'll be holding my phone and reading comments. So there are people somewhere in the world that think like this to what I said and towards me. Then to make matters worse, they will now come for your parents and start saying all sorts. So that was the first time I was dragged. But after the first time I was dragged, second time, third time, by that time I had developed a thick skin. But at the same time, it also made me, by that time I had realized that, okay, this is Twitter, a very wild ground. But at the same time, and then because I don't just tweet, I don't actually look for trouble, or contrary to what people think. They think I think, what will cause wahala to do? I don't think that way. It's usually a leading. A leading can just be in my heart, and it will keep pressing in my heart. It will keep brooding in my heart until the moment where God gives me the revelation of how He wants me to say it. And then I drop it. And so the first time it was just out of casual tweet. Now, if I know that this thing has a potential to cause some trouble, I'll be sure that God has given me the go-ahead to tweet it. So because I have that peace that God led me to talk about this today, there's nothing anybody wants to say. In fact, that now made my skin so thick that if you like, sometimes you will tweet the thing. If you are busy insulting my parents, you can see me turning everything to play. That there's nothing you want to say that will. So what I realized on Twitter is people, especially when you say something that is undeniably true, but pricks them. People act in 3 ways. They will either ignore it. They will either agree and say, you're actually right, I'm guilty of this. Or they look for any other thing to gaslight your point. So it could be, maybe you gave a summary of saying a lot of women. Maybe you mentioned women. Because you mentioned women, they will now stir up the feminist nest to come and scatter everything you are saying. So what you are saying will now be irrelevant. It will now be because you mentioned the word women. You know, those kind of, so a lot of gaslighting happens on Twitter, but you have to be very careful. So for me, I've been in that space, and because I'm part of the reasons I know that God is the one that puts these things in my heart to drop, is I started getting a lot of followers on Twitter. Twitter is a place where it's difficult to get followers, unlike Instagram. And now I'm almost getting more followers on Twitter than on Instagram. I realize, and those followers I know is not because of anything or because I tweet funny tweets. It's just because God is putting ears to my voice. So when He drops another thing, there are ears that will push it out there. So that's what I realized. So it's not followers based on my ability or because I know how to handle social media. No, it is God that has given me that platform that, okay, you are as you are saying it, as I'm giving you are dropping it. Okay, here are more ears to what I want you to say. That's how I see it. So because of that, I don't even tweet every day now. I tweet and so there are a few topics, 2-3 topics that are even brooding in my heart as I am sitting right now. But I've not said anything yet for several reasons. One of it, and the most important of it, is because I've not gotten a clear instruction on how God wants me to lay everything down. So that's how the platform is for me. So God has just given that grace to be able to handle it, because dragging is not a joke at all. Oh, it is not a joke at all. It's not a joke at all. So I've always liked children. Part of the things I like aside music and creative art is children, being around children. I have a special interest in knowing how to handle children, talking with them, coming down to their level and communicating in the language they understand. It's something that I know I've had for a very long time, but I never really paid attention to it until a particular day. I don't remember what program we were having, when Dad had already told me that, when are you going to do something for the children? When are you going to do something for the children? So I don't remember what online program we were having. It was during this lockdown when online things started to flare up everywhere. We were having a program, and then I think I was the one lecturing. So Dad had already told me over time. Dad had discovered that, Daddy Mike had discovered that this is something Joshua has, but I never really paid attention to it because I was so focused on the other things I was doing, music, arts, and all that. So I don't know what I was lecturing. I don't remember. So Dad had asked me over and over and over. I didn't give an answer. So towards the end of that lecture, he just sent me the flyer of Children Fun Time. Who designed it? He designed it himself. Put my face there. Children Fun Time. It was one funny design like that. And he sent it to me. I saw it. I said, So, because we had partially discussed that I was going to do something like that, but I didn't give any solidified answer. So when I saw that flyer, I was like, wow. It's like, that is no more asking. It's go and start. So that was the first one I did back in 2020. And it was lovely. And from then on, I mean, the principles I've learned from Daddy Mike, you don't just start something and then go and sleep. There has to be that consistency and continuity. And since then, we've been doing it. That time, I think it was just once, then a few months, then a year came that I did it once in a few months. Then later on, so now once every 2 months. Now it is still in the stage of once every 2 months. And it has once every 2 months. And it has evolved over time to what it is today. So it has even opened my eyes to several other things that can be done in the children ministry. And it's evolving. It's evolving. It's slowly evolving into teenagers too. Because the Jay and Josh is a very typical example. When Jay and Josh started in 2015, I wasn't thinking of children. It was, as time passed, I realized children connected to it more than even adults. That was when I realized that, maybe this is the gift side that is manifesting in Jay and Josh. And it's still, God is really helping. So I have people that are helping me in this cause. I realized if you're going to grow, you need helpers. And God has brought 1 or 2 people who we do this Children Fun Time program together, and it's been a very beautiful experience. It's a very short one. It's a very short story. So the instrumental, or let me say the chord progression of the song, was actually gotten from a sound that was played in the stage drama that was coordinated by Manzan Institute under Olumide Oki. He directed the drama and he played a particular sound. So that was the chord progression. Dami heard it and he really loved it. And then, I was talking about Dami hears some sounds and he would tell me about it. So he told me about it. And then I got the sound from Evangelist Olumide Oki, P2O. Got it from him. And then we used that sound to create an instrumental for Enoch. So it was just an instrumental. So when the film was getting through post-production, the first draft, when it was getting towards the end, because it was a very long movie. So when it was getting towards the end, I didn't have a theme music yet. Just that sound was what we had. So it had been reproduced. It had been, because it was just the simple tune that we took, and then we blew it into a style, our thing for Enoch. So that was all that we had. So when we're getting close to the end of the film, the only thing that came to my spirit was Dide. Just Dide. So I was like, okay, then D-Day. That was all. So because each time I'm working on post-production of a film, I don't just watch it like an editor all the time. I watch it objectively, like a viewer. So as I'm watching it, I can have that feeling of, no, this sound should be here. Then I put it, then I'm watching again. So many times I might not be involved in the shooting, and I might not really even know the script. But while working on the post-production second draft, which is by me as the chief editor, the less I know about the story, the better. So as I'm watching it, I'm very objective. Of course, I'd have had an idea of the story to be able to produce some sounds before that. So as I was watching it, we were getting close to the end. Before we got to that monologue part, it was just the day that was coming to my mind. So after that, I had to pause before getting to that part, because the closer I get to the end credits, if there's no music, I begin to get tense. There's no music. What will happen at this point? Because the feel of the music should already come a few minutes before we get to that end title. So I can't get to that point without a song. So after the day, I went back to produce that part. I went back to the software, produced the day. So after producing all that, the next question is verse. So I knew the verse had to be Yoruba. It can't be English. Those are the ways I used to save myself before. My Yoruba is not 100%. So there will be a Yoruba verse, a Yoruba chorus, English verse. But this time I said, no, this cannot be English verse. It has to be purely Yoruba. So what do I add? So I went to Daddy Mike. I said, I have a song that I want to do for Enoch, but I don't have any Yoruba idea. That if you could give me any suggestions, it could be a Bible verse, it could be anything. And he said, okay, we'll get back to me. So he came, when we finally he now called me back and said, he showed me the scripture, this passage, that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach the gospel to all creature, and so on and so forth. So he showed me that passage, and it was Yoruba. So it was very elaborate. Having the lyrics is one thing, fusing it into the tone is another thing. So I was so excited. I took that verse 1, and then I started adjusting it, shrinking some syllables, increasing some syllables. That's what led to verse 1. So verse 2, now I knew I wasn't going to take verse 2. Who should I call to take verse 2? At the time, I had seen one of T Worship's songs. T Worship had released a song about a year ago. I think it was Ajagun was the title or so. It was a very fantastic song, and it was Yoruba, and it was beautiful. No, not the first one. He had released one about 2 years ago. Then he released another one recently, and it was Yoruba, and it was so beautiful. I was like, I loved it then. So it came to my mind again to do verse 2. So I called him. So I just casually asked him, T Worship, because we had already done a project together, Heaven, where he sang verse 1. So I said, T Worship, can you sing Yoruba? He just laughed. He said, can I sing Yoruba? That was my main. I said, okay, fantastic. So I sent him the song up to where he was to sing, and he really loved it, and it didn't take him so long at all. He sent it back to me that it was done.
Wow, that was massive. Jaymikee, I don't know how to thank you.
Thank God, sir.
The Lord bless you.
Amen.
And
Amen.
I wish I should just write you a check right now.
Sir, you've written it in your heart. That's all that counts.
Wow. That reminds me of the scripture that says, a man thinketh in his heart.
So it is. Exactly.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
You have blessed our audience today, and I know that indeed they are blessed.
Amen.
So thank you very, very much. Like I always say on this show, please keep praying for drama ministers, gospel movie makers. It's not easy. It's only by grace. You have listened to Jaymikee today, and of course, we'll be coming your way again with another very important guest. Stay blessed, and God bless you.
God bless you.
Bye.
Hi everyone, my name is Joshua Mike Bamiloye, aka Jaymikee. Keep watching Beyond Entertainment Show with PVO. Beyond Entertainment.
Modern entertainment, beyond the applause of men, we seek for something valuable, and that is the soul of man. Yeah. And and that is the soul of man. Men and women, so don't forget. And this is beyond entertainment. And this is beyond entertainment. Beyond entertainment.
Keep watching Beyond Entertainment Show with PVO.